G'day everyone, this is part 6 of the 3Racing Sakura Ultimate Build series. Part 6 we will be starting the assembly of the steering. So part 6 will be we'll be starting with the steering rack. And the steering rack is the part that bolts directly to the chassis and is, I guess you can say, the in-between part of steering between the wheels and the steering servo. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and done a little bit of the assembly. Right here, this little piece here, it's carbon fibre. I've gone ahead and put CA glue around it just to seal the edges. Part of the steering I've put bearings in. Same with this part here, put bearings in there. So what we'll do is we'll start to keep going. We'll put the bearings in the other part here. Pretty easy, a lot of effort. Alright, so now what we'll do is we'll put our posts in. These are the posts, and they're what the steering rack sits on. So we'll need the chassis here, and just always, as always, pay attention to which hole it goes to, because there are various holes in the chassis. Oh, again, helps if I have the right tool. Alright, so we'll just put it on its side here. Do it fairly tight. Same procedure again. Chassis on its side, the post, alright, so that's that part done. So now what we'll move on to is basically starting the assembly of the rack. So with this, pay attention to the orientation, because there is a coned part for a flat-headed screw. And just give me a quick second so I can see. Alright, so we need a thick spacer, long screw, a little thread lock, put the spacer on, and put a little pillow ball on. Okay, so this part here, what we'll do is we need a little socket and our Allen driver. Okay, so that looks like that. Okay, now so the next part is to put these in with a little thread lock, as always. And a little spacer. I've heard people say that with thread lock that there's no difference, but I find that there is a difference between your ordinary thread lock and your hobby grade. The hobby grade stuff doesn't seem to be as strong. I know that's going to start a war of comments, but that's my opinion. Okay, so now with the steering rack, and we start the assembly. Note the orientation of them. And when you're doing it, just pay attention to if there are, which there are, little washers, which there are. For this bit here, we won't use any thread lock, for the fact that you don't want any thread lock to get into the bearing. And also, when you're doing it, take note of its orientation, whether it, just pay close attention to the instructions, because you can, I'm always picking up the wrong one, because you can put the wrong cam on the wrong side. By that I mean you can see that there's a thick part at the bottom and it's flush there, and also the shape of it at the top there, so just take note. So it's the same thing once again. Put the screw in, put the washer on, when you're doing it, do it tight but not too tight, because you want it to be able to move like that, real freely. Okay, so now for the steering rack, or for the carbon part rather, this is the part where put screws on, and we have washers. Alright. So now what we'll do is we'll just bring this over, and we'll put the steering rack on, and by the looks of things, got two washers here as well. Make sure you got it around the right way. I won't use thread lock in this procedure, because I don't want the thread lock to get onto the bearing. When I first started, when I built a couple of kits when I was younger, I put thread lock on everything, and I ended up wrecking one of the bearings. Okay, so there it is, folks. It's the steering rack assembly done, and as you can see, moves nicely, doesn't bind, just moves on its own weight. So that's the steering rack. So that's the end of part 6. Part 7, we go on to the shock tower assembly, and then part 8 will be the assembly of the top deck. And well, what I'll do is I'll see if I can try and combine the top deck and the shock tower. So stay tuned, folks.